Hey, everybody. How you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Pregame show presented by Coors Light. Yeah. Let's start this over. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. My name is Bill Mass. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me tonight, it's the fly by herself, Kelly Hinkle. What's going on, Hinks?
How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well.
I'm excited to watch a game with you. I always like watching games.
I'm just looking forward to watching some hockey tonight, watching some Matvei Michkov, watching some Jett Luchanko. I want to know if you're on me or Charlie's side about Jett, but we'll get into that. I have a feeling I know the answer.
I guess someone didn't listen to his birthday show, but that's fine.
I did watch some of it. And it kind of felt like I was at my own funeral.
Yeah.
Like I was like watching you guys do the show. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. This is odd.
It was weird.
It's Anyway, so the Flyers play the Bruins tonight. It is a home preseason game, so we can watch it on television. There's going to be commentators, cameras, the whole thing. It's almost like this is a major league sport, Henkel.
That's wild. I'm excited to hear play-by-play.
I'm really trying now that JJ has said it. I need to know.
I gotta get to Michkov. I gotta get it too.
It's just so easy to pronounce it the other way.
I want to say Michkov. That's how I want to do it, but I'm not going to do it.
It's what it looks like.
Michkov.
Just spell it differently. The alphabets are different. You can spell it any way you want it in English. Anyway.
I respect him enough to say it properly.
I'm going to do my best. Yes. First thing I want to look at tonight is those lineups. And for the Flyers, we saw these. It was Jordan Hall tweeted them out this morning from the morning skate. And a little bit something different for Matvei Michkov.
Yeah.
It looks as if, even though right here, Konechny's listed on the left and Michkov on the right, it's going to be the other way around tonight. At least that's what they practiced. Michkov on the left wing, natural lefty shot. We know Konechny, the righty shot, playing the right. I like when guys play the offside. I just think it's so much easier to get to the net.
Okay.
But a little something different for Michkov. How do you feel about it?
So, I mean, like, it's the preseason, so this is when you get weird. Like, try stuff out. Try anything out. Play him at center for a game. I don't care. Like, just see what happens. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, if they want to try him out on the other side, see what happens.
And I guess Konechny is this, he's a right winger. That is his position. So if you're going to have your two best offensive players together, it might have to be might have to be Michkov playing his offside. We have lots of other guys playing their offsides with both Forster and Tippett playing left wing. But it's the second line that I'm actually most intrigued by, Henkel.
Oh, I like it.
Because if Jett Luchanko is to make this team, presumably it would be as the third line center.
Yep.
And presumably between these two wingers, Farabee and Brink. That's kind of the line that makes the most sense. Yes. And I got to tell you, that's so much more interesting than Lawton between Farabee and Brink.
Can we talk about how nice it feels to have a third line that isn't just like some dudes with Scott Lawton in the middle? Like, it's actual players that you can think now, like, when the third line gets out on the ice, someone might score a goal. Like, that could happen.
It could. It really could happen.
It's been a while, I feel like, since that was like a reliable thing for the Flyers.
And that's part of the reason I think it's not the worst idea in the world for Jett Luchanko to make the team. Like, I looked up Sean Couturier's most common line mates from his rookie year. And it was bad. And he was kind of pigeonholed into that role of being just a checking center. You're probably not scoring when you're out there, dude. You're out there with Max Talbot and Zach Rinaldo. Yeah. Probably not scoring. But that's not the situation Jett Luchanko will be in here.
Those are good players.
Like, we know the fourth line. The fourth line is what it is.
And it's a good fourth line.
Farabee and Brink have to play in the top nine. Yeah. Like, I mean, the coach is going to do crazy stuff sometimes. But for the most part, Farabee and Brink are top nine forwards. This is a scoring third line. It's not as if he'd just be, you're going to kill penalties.
No.
You're going to only start D-zone draws. Like, it won't be that way.
No, and you and Charlie had this conversation yesterday, and Charlie and I had this conversation on your birthday. I am with you in that I think if you're an NHL player, you're an NHL player. You're going to struggle at first, but you're going to figure it out because you're an NHL player. And why not have him here with these two guys that are pretty dang good offensively?
They're good players.
With John Tortorella teaching you good habits, with good leadership in the room, teaching you good habits, getting to play every now and again with Matvei Michkov. Like, this seems like a very good development situation to me, and not like a throwing a guy in the deep end and making him sink or swim. Like, I know everyone thinks that you ruin a player by putting him in the NHL. I just don't think that's true. I think maybe you can ruin a borderline guy, like a third or fourth line guy. Like, maybe you can ruin him by rushing him up. And if he's on a crappy team like Rasmus Ristolainen was for most of his career, you learn bad habits because no one's teaching you good ones, and you have no good players around you, so you're constantly having to cheat to try to get anything done. That's not what Jett Luchanko is going to experience.
And I like Scott Laughton, and that's the thing about the third line tonight. Well, that would, you look down the center, Couturier, Luchanko, Paling, or Abels is in there instead of Frost, but a Bowles, as it's said. Okay. But if Luchanko makes the team, that would relegate both Laughton and Cates to wing. That's what we're getting tonight.
Yeah.
I feel like this lineup, maybe it's not like a message or like a sign that he's going to make the team, but it is a first look at, okay, if he were to, this is what it is.
And also I think that, and Charlie made a good point. I hate that I'm always referencing your old shows, but I'm doing it. Charlie made a good point that Jett had a fine game. He didn't have a stellar game. He didn't blow anybody out of the water in that game day before.
Thursday.
So I feel like this is John Tortorella saying, all right, kid, this is what your line would be if you made this team. Show me what you can do with these two guys. I feel like I think Torts really wants him to make the team. And I think he's trying to give him every opportunity to do it. And it is on Luchanko tonight to, like, get something done with these guys. It will be an opportunity to see, like, okay, can he actually play with these guys and make some stuff happen? And he should have some opportunities because, you know, it's the Bruins AHL team. So.
You're looking at the Bruins lineup. This isn't exactly
they're not bringing the big guns out.
This is very much a bit of a mismatch for the Flyers here. That's we're gonna get to the bet segment at the end, but yeah, I'm taking the Flyers in this one. But I'm just looking at the way this could go and just thinking of the different ways Tortorella could put this together. Mm-hmm. I like this idea that, Jett Luchanko, we're going to give you the opportunities. Yes. And if he plays tonight and 2 or maybe even all 3 of the remaining preseason games, and it's not much better than we saw the other night, then okay.
All right,
Then he didn't earn it. But
if
there are more glimpses of him being really good, and that was kind of just the floor game for him where he wasn't bad at all. Yeah. He was fine.
That's the other thing. Like, he's hanging in NHL games with NHL competition. He doesn't look out of place, and I think that's a big deal because he's a child.
Like, then why wouldn't you? Like, if you can accelerate his prime a year sooner, that accelerates the rebuild. So I just think it all kind of makes sense. Yeah. But, of course, he has to go out there and actually perform. Like, that's not a given. It's very hard to play in the NHL, especially for a dude who's, like, just turned voting age.
Right. And I don't think there's any harm in giving him the 9 games. Like, no matter what happens in these preseason games, why not give him 9 and see what happens? And I don't really buy this idea that, like, then they get sad and then they go back to Guelph and they pout and they have to get over it. Like, all right, get over it. Like, okay. That doesn't seem like some kind of, like, lifelong trauma that he will never recover from. Like, okay, if he's upset that he didn't make the team after 9 games, then go down to Guelph and learn to score more goals and then come back and make the team. Like, I don't really think that'll be a problem. I just don't see a downside to any of this trying out with him.
The 9-game tryout I'm very much for, just because, like, okay, if he has, say he plays really well tonight and then he plays the next one, it's like, oh, he was just okay again. Let's get more of a sample size. Yeah. Let's see if he's ready. If 3-4 preseason games isn't enough, let's make it 12 games, and then we can really judge.
Yeah, real
games. And then it's games against real NHL competition, and you can go from there. And I was trying to think of other examples, and I just saw one on Twitter, like the Scott Laughton example of a guy who got the tryout, and that was lockout 2013, so he only got to play like 4 games, I think, before they sent him back. Scott Laughton got to the NHL and realized, I'm not going to be a scorer here.
Right.
And then had to redevelop his game because the guy he is now is not the guy he was when he was drafted.
No,
Jett Luchanko, if he gets here and it's like, it's just not translating. He's already got those little things.
Yes.
Like, he's already good at that stuff. He will be a good penalty killer. He's a role player already, I think. Mm-hmm. And if ultimately, and that would be a bummer, but if ultimately that's all he is, it won't be for the next 2 years he has to reform his game. No, just keep playing that game. You can continue doing what you did, even if the offense never really comes around.
Right. Scott Laughton was like a flashy, like he was a scorer. Like he was a very good junior hockey player. And he had to, first of all, get over the fact that he was never going to be that in the NHL. And also, I feel like that was something, and it was a long time ago, so might be wrong. I feel like
years ago.
It was something that we knew kind of right away with Laughton. Like, it wasn't like maybe he'll be a 1C. Like, I don't think anybody ever thought that he was going to be.
That whole next Mike Richards thing was not, and he might have a couple point-a-game seasons.
No.
It was like, he's going to score shorthanded goals for you.
Right.
Like, that was the comparison.
So he had to, first of all, like, accept the fact that he was going to be a role player. And then he had to relearn his game in order to fit the third and fourth line role that he ultimately fell into for the most part. I feel like based on what I've seen from Luchanko, and obviously a very small sample size, but again, he's a literal child. Like, he just turned 18.
He's a bitty baby.
Given that this is what he looks like now, I don't feel like it's a crazy thing to say, like, no, he's definitely at minimum a 2C. Like, definitely going to be that. Like, I don't really see, barring some kind of, like, terrible, tragic injury, I don't see a situation in which he doesn't reach at least 2C. Especially on this team that doesn't really have a lot of size.
That's the thing is, it's not as if he will be short on opportunity.
Right.
Like, again, right now you pencil him in. Okay, if he makes the team, he's your 3C. But that's also behind Sean Couturier, who really hoping it all works out.
Yeah.
But we have no idea.
Right.
And Morgan Frost, who, regardless of what you think of him, he's probably fine as a middle six center. The coach doesn't like him. So there's going to be...
Maybe they made up.
Maybe. But there's going to be plenty of opportunity for a team that a year ago had games where Ryan Poehling played 17 to 20 minutes. Like, there's going to be chances for him. It's not as if, he's only going to play 12 minutes and he's going to be out there with Nick Delorier. Like, the coach can very much just not allow that to happen.
And it seems like he really likes him, so I don't think he would. Like, I don't see a situation in which John Tortorella is, like, trying to tie anchors to this kid for some reason.
And the idea that if you send him back, it could hurt his junior season. It could just kind of hurt his development a little because it's like, okay, well, he's going to pout, and then it's 2 weeks before he's even back to himself, and then blah, blah, blah. Everything we've heard about this kid is that he's mature as hell.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the case, then I worry about the pick. If he's that, and I understand it would be a major disappointment to be in the NHL and then all of a sudden not be in the NHL. That would be a bummer. But if he is as mature as he says he is, as we've heard he is, it wouldn't be an issue.
But also, here's the thing. If he gets 9 games and they ultimately send him back down, I feel like he's going to know why. It's not going to be like, he's not going to be lights out and then they're going to be like, just kidding, we just don't want to burn a year off your ELC. You're going back anyway. Like, I think if he plays 9 games and he's, like, sick and, like, scoring half a point a game or something through 9 games, like, he's going to stay up.
Yes.
John Tortorella wants him to stay up. So, like,
he wants him here.
He's going to have to play himself out of a spot, really, like, if they give him the opportunity. It's really on Briere and Jonesy if he's going to be here or not. I feel like if it was up to John would have him penciled in at 3C already.
John Tortorella is a very good coach. He is also an emotional fan. He wants what we all want.
Us.
He's like, oh, new things.
New things.
Yeah, that's you know what I don't like? The things we have. You know what could be good? The thing I don't have.
And you know what I don't like? I hate trying to wring stuff out of crappy players that aren't really that good. I would like to have good players that I do not have to force to do things. Like, what a wild idea. Like, I'm sure it's very fun for him.
Yeah, like, I almost got this team to the playoffs last year. Like, I did it with Ryan Poehling. Like,
Right.
you know, maybe if
Yeah.
you got me just one or two more guys, I would be able to do this thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I am now in, I said this on pregame the other night, I am now 100% in, let's make the playoffs.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I very much, high picks and everything would be cool. I'm looking at this team right now. I understand they need more stuff. But the path of this rebuild is, hey, man, we're going to get them into the important games. We're going to teach them to win. And then through that experience, it will make who we have better players. Well, then if that's the case, let's make the playoffs. And if Jett Luchanko makes your team better, I don't see the reason you don't have him on the team.
I'm going to tell you something, William. We put the perceived lineup up on the screen when Charlie and I were doing a show. And I looked at that. Is it the Avalanche when they won the Cup? No. Is it last year's Florida Panthers? No. But it's a good hockey team. Like, it is not a bad hockey team. And I don't care how down you are on this organization. You can't objectively look at what the likely opening night lineup will be and think that it's a crappy hockey team that's going to be picking in the top 5. It's a good team.
It is.
The only way this goes off the rails is if the goalies are crap. Could that happen? Absolutely. That's really an outcome that could definitely happen. But if the goalies are fine to good, this is a good hockey team. Like, they're going to make the play. Like, I don't care. They're making the playoffs.
JP and I talked about this in postgame the other night. Like, look around the East. Who is this awesome team? Like, yes, Florida's coming off back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals.
Tampa's always an opportunity to be good.
Won the Cup. Like, I get it. And yeah, Tampa's Tampa. Like, they're going to be in the playoffs probably.
Toronto, Boston.
The
always
Atlantic
in there.
is tough.
Yeah, they're tough.
Just in this division, I don't know.
Here's the thing. We don't have to mess with them.
Yeah.
For a little while. Like, it takes some time before we have to mess with Atlantic teams for the most part. So, like, you know, they're making the playoffs.
The Metro isn't very good.
No.
It's Carolina got worse. Yes, the Rangers, President's Trophy, they're good. The Devils
should be good.
They're supposed to be good. They were also supposed to be good last year.
They were.
And you know what? These teams that are supposed to, I've been hearing Ottawa, and I've been hearing Buffalo for years. Oh, they got it. It's on the turnaround.
Buffalo,
maybe the Devils are just another one of those teams.
Buffalo, who did the rebuild correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
By tanking over and over and over again. It really worked out well for them. So glad that we're doing that too.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward tonight. It's another night to get to enjoy Matvei Michkov, and another night to assess Jett Luchanko. Looking at this D, I think it is funny. That's a funny sentence in itself.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
I was really bummed you weren't here for the Blue Chew ad yesterday.
I would have been fired, so it's for the best.
I showed it to Ava, and she was like, honestly, the best part of this is Charlie.
Yes,
like,
it was so good.
His face. But we got the defensemen who are dressing tonight, and according to Jordan Hall, the pairs rotated at morning skate, so we'll see how they end up during the game. It's Zamula, Drysdale, Ginning, McDonald, Risto, and Bonk. I need some minutes of McDonald and Risto together.
Wouldn't hate it.
I need the. I love getting the big guys out together.
I want to see a little bit more out of McDonald, so I wouldn't hate for him to maybe get the opportunity to do some things tonight. It's been
weird watching him. Like in the rookie games, I found it very fun that anytime anybody touched a Flyers player, if McDonald was on the ice, some sort of physical retribution was taken. Could be the most legal hit. He was like, I'm still going to slash you.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. But
him.
I would like to see a little bit more actual hockeying out of McDonald, especially if he's going to be who they think he is. Like, tighten up defensively a little bit.
I feel like it's dropped off a little bit. Like the hype around Hunter McDonald.
It has.
Yeah,
like
they haven't really been bringing him up much.
And then we saw him play.
Yeah, and they were like, oh.
Yeah, he's just big.
Big.
Maybe he ends up being good. Yeah. But it seems as if the idea, he could make this team. I really don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
He's still here, so I suppose they haven't ruled it out. But
tomorrow
really see it.
Tomorrow's the day.
There's cuts, Phantoms.
Let him go down to the Phantoms, and if he does well down there, he could be an injury call-up.
We're also getting Drysdale tonight. Another chance to look at him, just kind of see how he looks out there. Other than Michkov, which is obvious, I made the argument to Charlie the other day that Couturier and Drysdale are the two most important players this season. Just figuring out what their ceiling is, kind of what they're going to be for you for the next few years.
Sure.
I think it's incredibly important for Drysdale, maybe not to have the hottest start, but just to kind of build some confidence and look good early, and here's a chance to do it.
I think he's looked good so far in what we've seen from him. Obviously better than last season. The skating looks really good. But yeah, I would like to see, I kind of hope that he plays in the rest of the games, because I do kind of want to see him get like a running start into the season. And I think that playing a bunch of preseason games against AHL competition is probably a good way for him to get a running start into the season. But yeah, he's without question the second most important player for the long-term health of this team. Like, if he's not going to be the guy on defense, then we have a problem, because then we don't have a guy on defense. Gotta have a guy.
This is the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey. All right, Kelly, I want to get into this mostly because it's so funny. Charlie's reaction yesterday. Oh, God, the Alexei Kola saga continues. He's here. He's on the ice.
Our long national nightmare is over.
We have journalists in Cyprus saying, actually, he's just here to terminate his contract.
Sure.
That would be weird for him to show up and practice and be like, no, I'm here to quit.
Do they have email in Belarus? Could he email?
That would it would be impossible for him to terminate. He can't possibly terminate his contract remotely. Like, really?
I'm fairly sure you can.
Every contract I've ever signed, I've done so with Adobe Sign.
Yeah, do you have DocuSign in Belarus?
Yeah, it seems like you can just probably do it the opposite way too.
Yeah. Like, print it out, sign it, scan it, send it back. There's several ways to do it. Charlie was losing it.
He was like turning purple.
I listened to it on audio, and I actually am very upset that I didn't take the time to watch it on YouTube, because I can only imagine what he looked like. He was on one.
It was September 27th. The season starts, October 11th?
Yeah.
He's already fed up.
I need Charlie to
he's the best.
Chill.
Choose chill. CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey.
You have a fun job. I want you to settle down.
Get it delivered. It is a ridiculous thing, though.
So here's the thing. And I feel like I haven't seen enough, at least in the online portion of the fan base, which is the only one that I interact with. I haven't seen enough, giving Danny Briere some flowers over this one. Like, he won this.
Yeah.
Definitively.
The kid was like, no.
Won.
And Danny said, too bad.
And Danny was like, oh, really? Yeah. And now he's here.
Well, if you ever want to play anywhere, it's got to be here. So good luck.
And I've seen, people are trying to, figure out, some kind of, weird, galaxy brain. What's he doing over? No, he came here to try to win a spot.
Yeah.
Because he probably saw Fedotov look a little shaky, and then he remembered Cal Peterson existed, and he was like, oh, wait. I could totally have a spot on this team. What am I talking about?
It is, maybe it's blocked immediately. Right now, unless he's just awesome.
He's not going to be the opening night roster. And unless Fedotov totally blows it and he plays a game and looks sick.
Yeah. I guess that's possible.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't know if that would happen.
Maybe not. I think it's probable Fedotov would clear waivers given that contract he's on.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're completely unproven goalie who just got cut by a team with no goalie.
If they're waiving him, it's not great.
So the Flyers have no goalies. They're paying you a bunch of money, and they cut you.
Don't think we're gonna.
No, I don't think we'll be claiming you on waivers.
We're all set.
But the spot could open up so soon.
So fast.
Whether it's because of one of the two goalies' poor play, whether it's because of injury.
One tweaked groin.
Yeah.
And you're in the NHL, bud. Because it's not Cal.
We just went through a season where, all right, we have one NHL caliber goalie. We have to run him into the ground. Sorry, Sam. This is the way it is.
Yeah.
And this year with Sam, it's we just need to give him a regular schedule to see if he's a number one goalie.
Right.
Well, if Fedotov can't do it, you need somebody who can do it. And it's not Cal Peterson.
No.
It simply is not.
Is it this A2 guy? Maybe. He looked all right. But he didn't look, he wasn't lighting the world on fire. And it's not like this is his first opportunity to be an NHL goaltender. He's probably fine. He'll probably be a very good AHL goaltender.
I bet you he's fine for the Phantoms, yeah.
But yeah, it was like 30 seconds of that Fedotov game, and I was like, what is that kid doing? He needs to get back over here. Like, he could very easily get a spot in the NHL on this team. So I'm glad to see that either A, Danny Briere's like cold, hard, icy stare scared him into coming back over here, or he just like took a second and was like, oh, I'm being very stupid. I'm blowing my entire career. Let me get over there and play some preseason games.
I do think there's a chance that if he's just stuck in the AHL in like mid-December, we are looking at a loan back situation. Maybe that was part of the negotiation to get him over here. Like, listen, like maybe they explained exactly what we just explained.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you definitely have a chance, man. It's not as if Hasek and Wah are ahead of you. It's a couple of guys who we don't know if they're any good.
Yeah. It's not Nashville where we just signed a goalie for 8 years that we're never going to get rid of. Like, it was so silly from the jump. And like, I think at this point, it's very obvious that it was just that he didn't like Allentown. And like, honestly,
I liked it. That was a nice little place.
Would you want to live there?
I don't know.
If you came from like Europe where things are like nice.
Well, Brew Daddy's was cool. I like that place.
Street. That street is nice.
That street is nice.
If you don't go off of that street, Allentown's a wonderful place. I don't know that I would want to live there. And I could understand that if I'm looking at Carter Hart and Sam Ersson and I'm living in Allentown, riding a bus up and down the East Coast, I may be a little bit like, oh God, what did I do? This sucks. But
that's not the situation.
That's not the situation. And I'm glad that he figured that out because it could be good for him and it might be good for us.
But tonight's goalies will be Ivan Fedotov, his second start of the preseason.
Very interested to see how this goes.
Makiniemi will be backing up. We'll see if he gets in at all. But yeah, this is obviously the Jett Luchanko thing just because we don't, maybe he can make the team. Like, that's a lot of fun.
Yes.
But Ivan Fedotov, we just don't know if he's good. And he has played very little North American hockey. He needs reps. This is one of those times we're going to get to see how he's coming along.
I did not think he looked good in that game that he played.
Okay enough.
I thought he looked like he never once looked comfortable to me. Like, the angles never looked right. It never looked like he was tracking the puck. Everything looked like very janky. And Charlie made the point that like maybe he's like Dominic Hasek and it's just going to look real ugly and he's going to get it done. And if that's the case, cool. I don't need it to look good like Carter Hart did. It doesn't need to look good to me. I don't care. But he's not Dominic Hasek. So like for right now, I need him to look less terrifying in the net. I need it to look like he believes he's going to make a save. And I didn't really see that in that.
I think it's always going to look a little awkward because he's a lanky 6'7". Like,
he's real big.
This is Ryan Gilbert in net.
That's true. We're not used to seeing a goalie that big.
Shout out to RG Tree, love him. If he were to play goalie, it would look odd.
Yeah,
and that's what we're talking about.
That's true.
This is a 6'6", 6'7" goalie.
He's a big boy.
It's always going to look a little odd, but he did lose his net the one time.
Yeah.
I thought it was a nice building block, but you would like him to look a little steadier.
Tonight, I need him to look better.
All right.
In order not to be panicked about it.
And before we get out of here, let's hit some Bet365 bets of the night. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And yes, it is a D-Gen night. There are odds for preseason hockey up on Bet365. The Bruins goalies tonight are Brandon Bussey. I did that on purpose. A pretty good AHL netminder, but he's 26 and never played in the NHL. And
good luck.
Eunice Korpisalo, who was
stinks.
One of the worst goalies in hockey last year. For the Flyers, it's Fedotov, who one of us is a little more confident in, but neither really think he's very good.
I don't know what he is.
And Makiniemi, we're hoping a decent AHL goalie.
Yeah.
I'm taking the over 6. It's -105 tonight. I'm betting the over 6 in this one after a 2-0 preseason game. I want to see some fireworks tonight. And just looking at this Bruins lineup, like, all right, Trent Frederick, Hampus Lindholm, the rookie from last year whose name I can't say, Matty Patois.
Oh, yeah.
Patois. It's something French. I'm not seeing a ton of NHL regulars outside of a couple of dudes who aren't exactly stars.
No.
I'm taking the Flyers. Why not? It's -200, but it's preseason hockey. Why not bet on it?
2 goals for Michkov, 1 goal for Jett. Let's go.
I am very much looking forward to the day we have we have goal scoring lines up at Bet365. Once the preseason ends, the regular season gets going, so I can bet Michkov every single night. Do we have any super chats, Bryn? All right, that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Pregame. Make sure you're back with us as soon as the game goes final for the postgame. Kelly and I will be back. Until then, you stay loose and sexy, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.